that because the plaintiff's motion for summary judgment was addressed solely to his cause of action based on Labor Law Section 240, the Supreme Court had no authority under CPLR 3212 to search the record and grant summary judgment in favor of the defendant on the separate cause of action based on negligence in the absence of any cross motion for such relief. See Dunham versus Hilco Construction Company, 89, New York 2nd, 425, 429, 1996. See also Bondanella versus Rosenfeld, 298, Appellate Division 2nd, 941, 2002. Although CPLR 3212 authorizes the Supreme Court and this court to search the record and grant summary judgment to the defendant with respect to the cause of action based on Labor Law Section 240, even in the absence of a cross motion by the defendant. See Merritt Hill Vineyards versus Windy Heights Vineyard, 61, New York 2nd, 106, 1984, Rogers versus CIS Associates Limited Partnership, 273, Appellate Division 2nd, 523, 2000. Such relief was not warranted under the facts of this case. The plaintiff fell to the ground while descending a ladder. A triable issue of fact exists as to whether the plaintiff himself undermined the stability of the ladder after he slipped on one of the ladder's rungs, lost his balance, and then only after his own downward trajectory already had begun, caused the ladder to slide away from him by suddenly shifting his weight or by suddenly grabbing or kicking parts of the ladder. In addition, there is an issue of fact as to whether the ladder first unpredictably lost its stability, slid out from under the plaintiff, and in so doing caused him to fall downward as the result of his loss of support. Such issues of fact preclude the grant of summary judgment in favor of either party. See Weininger versus Hadgecorn versus Smith, 91, New York 2nd, 958, 960, 1998. Olberding versus Dixie Construction, 302, Appellate Division 2nd, 574, 2003. In this action, while the plaintiff established a prima facie case for summary judgment under Labor Law Section 240 by submitting proof that the ladder slid out from under him, Peter versus Nissel Realty Company, Supra at 290. See also Klein versus City of New York, Supra at 835. The defendant raised an issue of fact as to whether the ladder's collapse was a subsequent effect rather than a preceding cause of the plaintiff's slipping off one of the ladder's rungs and his consequent fall. Proof of a plaintiff's fall from a ladder without more is not sufficient to establish liability under Labor Law Section 240. See Weininger versus Hagdorn and Company, Supra, at 960, Olberding versus Dixie Construction, Supra, Williams versus Dover Home Improvement, Supra. This rule should apply irrespective of whether the plaintiff, in an effort to avoid falling, pushes the ladder away and causes it subsequently to collapse. But see Orellano versus 29 East 37th Street Realty Corporation, 292, Appellate Division 2nd, 289, 2002. If the plaintiff's fall to the ground was the result of his having merely slipped off of a defect-free and properly secured ladder, rather than the result of the ladder having first inexplicably collapsed underneath him due to its having been inadequately secured, then the defendant would not be liable under Labor Law Section 240. In light of these issues of fact, neither party was entitled to summary judgment on the plaintiff's cause of action under Labor Law Section 240. In January 1995, the plaintiff was hired by non-party Carp Associates Incorporated as a welder's assistant and assigned to work at a Queens location where the defendant corporation manufactured metal doors and hand railings. On February 2nd, 1995, about 2 weeks after he began his employment, The plaintiff was injured when his hand became caught in a metal grinding machine. Okay.
It's a little tough. Inexplicably? How do you spell that?
INEXPLI. Let's see. INEXPLI CABLY. And of course also inexplicable. Three strokes.
Do you have rung in your dictionary? Rung of the ladder?
The what?
Do you have the word rung in your dictionary as in the rung of the ladder?
OUNG?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I write running 2 strokes.